Welcome to the Extraterrestrial and UFO Encounters Iceberg Explained, where, you guessed it, we explore encounters with extraterrestrial entities. The Falcon Lake Incident. The Falcon Lake Incident, occurring on May 20th, 1967, near Falcon Lake, Manitoba, Canada, remains one of the most discussed UFO sightings in history. Stefan Michalak, an amateur prospector and former military policeman, encountered what he described as a UFO while searching for quartz veins. His detailed account and the physical evidence presented make this incident uniquely compelling and difficult to dismiss outright. Michalak reported seeing two cigar-shaped objects descending near him. One landed close enough for him to inspect, which he promptly did. He described the object as metallic, with a smooth surface devoid of seams, approximately 30 feet in length and 15 feet in height, and emitting a glow and heat reminiscent of hot stainless steel. Attempting communication in English, Polish, Russian, and German yielded no response. Michalak's attempt to touch the object resulted in his glove melting due to the intense heat. As he walked away, the craft emitted a blast of gas, causing severe burns to his abdomen and setting his clothes on fire. After his alleged encounter, Michalak was spotted by Constable Solotki of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Solotki assumed that Michalak was under the influence of alcohol due to his disoriented state. However, Solotki did not detect any smell of alcohol on Michalak. Solotki's report suggests he offered to help Michalak and even proposed taking him back to Falcon Beach to seek medical treatment, which Michalak declined. However, Michalak's memory ran contrary to Solotki's official RCMP report. Contrary to Solotki's report, Michalak felt that the constable was dismissive and refused to offer the necessary assistance. Upon returning to Winnipeg, Michalak sought medical help, where he was admitted to the emergency room and where he received treatment for his burns and other symptoms. Despite suffering from symptoms consistent with radiation poisoning, tests conducted for radiation poisoning were inconclusive. Michalak's physical condition deteriorated in the aftermath of the encounter. Investigations into the incident included the Mayo Clinic deeming Michalak of sound mind. Further, his symptoms, including a drastic drop in lymphocyte count, provided some evidence of radiation poisoning. I note that Michalak's claim was exhaustively investigated by both Canadian and American authorities. I question why American authorities would be investigating this case if Canadian authorities hadn't invited them in to be a part of the process. As such, I have to think that there is something more to the story than the official records let on. All publicly available reports on the incident indicate that the results of the Canadian and American investigations were, quote, inconclusive. Skeptics have proposed several explanations for the Falcon Lake incident, including it being a hoax. Other explanations include a case of misidentification of a conventional aircraft, a natural phenomena, or a psychological episode potentially exacerbated by alcohol consumption. Despite these theories, no explanation fully accounts for all aspects of Michalak's account and the physical evidence. And let me usher in this new series with a line I have a feeling I'll be repeating a few times. To quote Fox Mulder from The X-Files, I want to believe. The Ariel School UFO Case. On September 16, 1994, an extraordinary event unfolded at Ariel School in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, captivating UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. This incident, widely known as the Ariel School phenomenon, involved 62 school children who claimed to witness a UFO and non-human entities during their morning break. The children, aged between 6 and 12, reported seeing a silvery disc-shaped object land near their school playground, and some described encountering beings with atypical features. The account began on a typical school day, with the teachers inside attending a meeting while the students were outside. According to the children's reports, They saw a craft land on a nearby hill and observed figures emerging from it. The event allegedly lasted up to 15 minutes. Initially met with skepticism from the faculty, the children's consistency and the detailed drawings they provided of the incident prompted further investigation. One of the most prominent figures to delve into the Ariel school case was Cynthia Hind, a well-known UFO researcher. After learning about the event, Hind visited the school and interviewed the children. She found their accounts credible, particularly considering their limited exposure to alien pop culture due to their rural backgrounds. Her investigations were later joined by Dr. John E. Mack, a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, known for his research into alien abductions. The children reportedly shared with Mack that the beings communicated with them telepathically, delivering messages about the importance of environmental protection. The implications of the Ariel school encounter continue to stir debate. Skeptics argue the sighting could be attributed to the re-entry of a rocket seen in the area days before, or suggest it was a case of mass hysteria. Critics also point out inconsistencies in the children's accounts, the influence of media, and the possibility of story cross-contamination during group interviews. Despite the skepticism, many of the children, now adults, have maintained their accounts of the encounter. However, some of them are adamant that there was nothing witnessed. The story has been examined in various documentaries and remains a significant event in UFO history due to the number of young, seemingly credible witnesses. The Betty and Barney Hill case. The Betty and Barney Hill incident stands as a seminal event in UFO history, marking one of the first and most publicized reports of an alien abduction. On the evening of September 19, 1961, while driving through the White Mountains of New Hampshire, the couple encountered a mysterious craft. They observed it closely, noting its pancake-like shape and the silent, hovering manner in which it moved. Barney, armed with binoculars, witnessed beings within the craft, describing them as somehow not human and dressed in black, shiny uniforms. The beings communicated telepathically with Barney, instructing him to stay still. This encounter led to a series of puzzling physical effects and missing time for the Hills. Upon arriving home, the couple noticed inexplicable changes. Their watches had stopped, the leather strap of the binoculars was torn, and Barney's shoes were scuffed. Additionally, Betty's dress was damaged and stained with a mysterious pink powder, which, when tested in later years, yielded inconclusive results. They also observed shiny, concentric circles on their car's trunk, which seemed to affect a compass's behavior in an unusual manner. Plagued by unsettling dreams and a lack of memory about the event, the Hills sought the help of Benjamin Simon, a psychiatrist, who used hypnosis to recover their memories. Under hypnosis, they recounted an extraordinary experience of being stopped by the UFO and then taken aboard the craft. There, they were separated and subjected to medical examinations by the non-human beings. Their accounts included descriptions of being inspected, having samples taken from their bodies, and being communicated with telepathically. Notably, Betty recalled a star map shown to her by one of the beings, which would later become a point of significant intrigue and analysis among UFO researchers. The public disclosure of their experience in 1965 catapulted the Hills to fame, setting the template for future alien abduction reports. The narrative elements of their story, missing time, medical examinations, and telepathic communication, would become staples in the alien abduction lore that followed. Despite skepticism and alternative explanations, such as suggestions of sleep deprivation or psychological distress, their story remains a cornerstone of UFO folklore. It's really hard to overstate their influence on how subsequent alien encounters were perceived and reported. The Hills account did more than just popularize the concept of alien abduction. It also intersected with social issues of the time, notably as they were an interracial couple during a period of significant racial tension in the United States. This lent credibility to their story, as individuals on the outside speculated that given their relationship, they would not wish to attract any unwanted attention. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain the incident. Hill boosters cite the credibility of the couple in support of their position that the Hills had a legitimate close encounter with alien life forms. Another theory suggests the power of suggestion, particularly in the context of hypnosis, which was used to recover the Hills' memories. Critics argue that hypnosis is not a reliable method for retrieving true memories, as it can create false or distorted ones. This could explain the vivid details of their abduction story, which emerged primarily after their sessions with Dr. Benjamin Simon, the psychiatrist. However, in the alternative, the vivid nature of these recollections was because Dr. Simon allowed them to recover deeply traumatic and disturbing memories in detail. Further, it's not as though they had absolutely no memories of the event prior to going into this treatment. Furthermore, cultural and media influences may have shaped their perceptions and memories. Prior to their claimed abduction, stories of UFOs and extraterrestrial beings were becoming an increasingly popular part of popular culture, potentially influencing the Hills' narrative. Critics have noted that an episode of The Outer Limits, broadcast in the weeks prior to the hypnosis event, mirrors many of the aspects of the abduction. Further, the fact that Betty's sister had claimed to see a UFO before might also have predisposed Betty towards a belief in UFOs. In response, people who believe Betty and Barney Hill's story note that they don't have any meaningful credibility issues. Further yet, the fact that Betty's sister saw a UFO could actually be evidence in favor of Betty and Barney Hill's abduction. Perhaps these advanced life forms wanted to study the differences in human siblings. Indrid Cold. Indrid Cold, also known as the Smiling Man, is a figure associated with UFO and paranormal phenomena, first reported in the 1960s in West Virginia. The most notable encounter with Indrid Cold occurred on November 2, 1966, when a salesman named Woodrow Derenberger claimed to have met him on Interstate 77 near Parkersburg, West Virginia. According to Derenberger, Cold emerged from a UFO-like craft that landed on the highway in front of his vehicle. Cold was described as a humanoid male, with dark hair, standing well over 6 feet tall, and wearing a reflective, metallic outfit. He communicated completely telepathically, without moving his mouth. Despite this, Derenberger heard him as clear as if through spoken word. Cold introduced himself and asked questions about the area, expressing curiosity about Earth's environment and humanity. After the encounter, Derenberger reported ongoing communications with Cold, detailing these experiences in a book titled Visitors from Lanulos. Derenberger claimed Cold was from a planet called Lanulos near the galaxy of Ganymedes. Following Derenberger's initial report, other sightings and communications with beings claiming to be Indrid Cold or associated entities were reported across the United States. These encounters often shared similar characteristics: communication through telepathy, descriptions of Cold as friendly or benign, and discussions that suggested an extraterrestrial interest in Earth and its people. Critics and skeptics question the validity of Derenberger's experiences, pointing to the lack of physical evidence and the fantastical nature of his claims. Some suggest that the Cold encounters were hoaxes, delusions, or misinterpretations of mundane experiences. However, believers in the paranormal or extraterrestrial life cite the consistency in descriptions of Cold and the sincerity of Derenberger and other witnesses as reasons to consider the encounters as genuine, unexplained phenomena. The Roswell Incident. The Roswell crash refers to an event that took place in July 1947 near Roswell, New Mexico, where an unidentified flying object reportedly crashed on a ranch. On July 8, 1947, Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc from a ranch near Roswell. The story made headlines nationwide, sparking immediate public interest. However, the excitement was short-lived. The next day, Brigadier General Roger Ramey, commander of the 8th Air Force, held a press conference in Fort Worth, Texas. At this press conference, debris from the crash was presented as a weather balloon with a radar reflector in an attempt to, quote, debunk the initial flying disc claim. In the 1990s, the U.S. government disclosed that the debris found was part of Project Mogul, a top-secret military project aimed at detecting Soviet atomic bomb tests. The project involved high-altitude balloons equipped with microphones to capture sound waves generated by explosions. This was apparently supposed to explain the unusual materials found at the crash site. This unusual revelation was intended to close the case on the Roswell incident, but it only fueled further speculation. Further, many questioned why the government felt the need to specifically disclose information about what had previously been explained as a routine weather balloon crash. There are numerous competing theories as to what happened at Roswell. However, I'll stick to the two most credible here. One of the most popular theories is that the object that crashed was an alien spacecraft, and the bodies of extraterrestrials were recovered from the wreckage. This theory was bolstered by various witnesses and insiders who came forward over the years, with stories of recovered alien bodies and advanced technology. Proponents argue that the military's quick retraction of the initial flying disc statement and subsequent secrecy surrounding the incident are evidence of a cover-up. Another theory suggests that the crashed object was a secret military test craft, possibly part of Project Mogul or another classified project. Advocates of this theory point to the era's intense research into advanced aviation technology, including experimental aircraft and balloons for espionage or nuclear monitoring. They argue that the military's secrecy and the later explanation of Project Mogul are consistent with practices of protecting classified projects. The only thing that can be said with absolute certainty about the Roswell crash is that something did indeed crash, and that there was a subsequent government cover-up. Further, I note that the Roswell incident came just a few short years after the Trinity test. The world's first nuclear test in 1945 is strongly believed to have triggered extraterrestrials taking a much more active role in human affairs. And make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the reasons for this will be discussed later in this series. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. The Baltic Sea Anomaly refers to a mysterious object discovered at the bottom of the Baltic Sea in 2011 by a Swedish treasure hunting team, Ocean X. The object, resembling a massive, flattened dome sitting atop a pillar, including features that look like ramps, stairways, and other structures not typically found in natural geological formations, sparked global interest and speculation about its origins. The discovery occurred on June 19, 2011, when sonar scans revealed an unusual 60-meter diameter circular formation resting at a depth of about 90 meters. The images showed a structure with apparent hard angles and symmetries uncommon in natural objects, leading to a flurry of theories about its origin. Suggestions ranged from a sunken UFO, an ancient monument, to remnants of a prehistoric civilization. Ocean X's initial descriptions and released sonar images fueled speculation, with comparisons made to the fictional Millennium Falcon spacecraft from Star Wars. The team reported equipment malfunctions when near the anomaly, adding to the mystery and speculation about electromagnetic interference, further suggesting non-natural origins. Subsequent expeditions to the site attempted to clarify the nature of the object. divers and remote-controlled submarines took samples and photographs. These investigations revealed that the anomaly sits on a rock formation covered in silt. The structure itself is composed of a type of basalt rock. Scientific analysis leans towards the anomaly being a natural feature, though the possibility of it being of extraterrestrial origin cannot yet be ruled out. In 2019, an individual associated with OceanX indicated there was the possibility of a further expedition to the site of the anomaly. However, as of 2024, this has yet to happen, and there have been no further updates. Die Glocke. Die Glocke, or the bell in English, is one of the most controversial topics surrounding Germany's secret projects during World War II. According to various sources, Die Glocke was purportedly a top-secret scientific technological device developed by the Germans. The craft was characterized by its bell-like shape and alleged anti-gravitational effects. The legend of Die Glocke was first brought to mainstream attention by Polish journalist Igor Witkowski around the year 2000. It allegedly utilized a pair of counter-rotating cylinders filled with a violet-colored substance known as Zerum 525, alongside another substance called Leichtmetall. The device was rumored to be capable of producing an anti-gravitational effect. The operational base for Die Glocke was said to be a facility called the Giant, located near the Czech border. Despite these detailed descriptions, the lack of physical evidence and reliable documentation has led many to question the veracity of these claims. Critics suggest that the narrative of Die Glocke, while fascinating, is more likely a concoction of post-war conspiracy theories and sensationalism rather than a historical fact. The narrative of Die Glocke did not exist in isolation. It was part of a larger pattern of post-war fascination with secret Nazi projects and alleged wonder weapons. The secrecy surrounding actual advanced German technology lends significant credence to the theory. Many legitimate, earth-shattering breakthroughs came out of such programs. These inventions include the V-2 rocket, the first jet plane, the first night vision equipment, and the first assault rifle. Further German propaganda during the war was keen to play up these significant innovations, and the Allies, upon defeating the Germans, had little incentive to downplay German capability. Whatever you may say about the actual capabilities of this purported craft, pursuing such a project would not be outside of the Germans' area of interest during the war. The Nazis' pursuit of advanced and esoteric technologies, such as the purported Die Glocke, can potentially be attributed to two known quantities associated with them: their relentless quest for military superiority and their interest in applying the occult to science and engineering. The Third Reich leadership was known for its fascination with the arcane and the potential of groundbreaking technologies to turn the tide of World War II in their favor. Projects like Die Glocke would align with the Nazi regime's ambitions to develop Wunderwaffen, or wonder weapons, that could potentially offer them a decisive advantage. This drive was fueled by a combination of desperation, the ideological belief in German supremacy, and the desire to achieve technological feats that would dominate their adversaries. Some theories suggest that the Nazi leadership used this machine to escape Germany for the comfy caves of the Hollow Earth, through an opening in Antarctica. Further, other theories suggest that the Germans were working in conjunction with Nordic aliens, or other alien species, who gave them the technology for Die Glocke. Hollow Earth. The Hollow Earth theory is an enduring concept that posits that our planet is not a solid mass, but contains substantial internal spaces or is entirely hollow. In its present form, this theory generally puts forward that certain races of aliens, such as reptilian aliens, occupy Hollow Earth, running the show from the interior. This idea, entwined with mythology, folklore, and speculative thought has evolved over millennia from ancient beliefs to modern-day conspiracy theories. Ancient civilizations across the globe harbored notions of subterranean realms that intersected with their beliefs in the afterlife and origin stories. The Greeks, Egyptians, and Mesopotamians had myths of underworlds accessible through caves or tunnels, serving as gateways to worlds beneath the Earth's surface. The scientific flirtation with hollow Earth theory can be traced back to the late 17th century, when English astronomer Edmund Halley put forth a hypothesis. He proposed that the Earth consists of concentric shells rotating independently, attempting to explain anomalies in magnetic readings. However, despite this still being relied upon today, this was simply a hypothesis based upon evidence at the time. The theory took on new dimensions when it was claimed that Admiral Richard Byrd encountered entrances to the inner Earth during polar expeditions. Supporters of hollow Earth theory note that unaccompanied individuals are not allowed free and unfettered access to Antarctica. Mystery airship wave of 1896 to 1897. In the late 19th century, the United States was gripped by a phenomenon that would become known as the mystery airship wave of 1896 to 1897. This period marked one of the first major UFO waves in American history, occurring a decade before the Wright brothers' first flight. The sightings began in California in 1896 and quickly spread eastward, generating thousands of reports from citizens across the country. These accounts ranged from simple observations of unexplained lights in the night sky to detailed descriptions of blimp-like vessels carrying human-like occupants. Some witnesses even reported interactions with these beings, who occasionally claimed to be from Mars. The majority of sightings were reported as nighttime encounters with unidentified lights, with more elaborate narratives describing airships comparable to contemporary dirigibles. This widespread nature of the sightings contributed to the mystery and intrigue surrounding the phenomenon. The reports peaked in two phases: the initial wave in California in late 1896, and a subsequent wave across the central and eastern U.S. in the spring of 1897. Public reaction to these sightings was mixed, with responses ranging from awe and fascination to skepticism and outright dismissal. Many accounts were later attributed to misidentifications of celestial objects, such as planets and stars, or dismissed as hoaxes and practical jokes. Some believed the airships were secret experiments by inventors or the government. The theory going at the time was that these airships were prototypes. Others saw them as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation, which at the time largely consisted of Martian visitors, reflecting the sensibilities of the time. In addition to the fantastical accounts, the airship sightings were a media sensation. Newspapers across the country reported on the phenomenon with varying degrees of credibility. Some papers sensationalized the sightings, while others aimed to debunk them through rational explanations or demonstrations of how easily the public could be fooled. Interestingly, the day before the first sightings in California, a newspaper called the Sacramento Bee published an article about an inventor from New York. This inventor was allegedly planning to fly from New York to California. This event may have set in motion the first sightings, with many additional sightings being driven by mass hysteria over airships. In the alternative, this newspaper article may have been placed by those in the know in an attempt to promote a, quote, rational explanation for the coming sightings. The Pascagoula Alien Abduction. The Pascagoula alien abduction is a UFO encounter that occurred on the night of October 11, 1973. This incident involved Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, who reported being abducted by extraterrestrials while fishing along the Pascagoula River in Mississippi. On that evening, after finishing work at a local shipyard, Hickson, aged 42, and Parker, aged 19, decided to go fishing. The tranquility of their fishing trip was shattered when they heard a buzzing sound and witnessed an oval-shaped object with flashing blue lights hovering above the ground. According to their accounts, 3 creatures with robotic humanoid appearances emerged from the craft. Parker reportedly fainted due to the shock, and Hickson claimed that they were both floated aboard the craft by these beings. Inside the UFO, Hickson described being examined by a mechanical eye-like device which seemed to scan his body. Parker later recounted similar experiences, though he had initially reported passing out. The entire ordeal lasted approximately 20 minutes, after which they were returned unharmed to their original location on the riverbank. No loss of time was reported, as is common in these sorts of events. Further, the description of the beings given in this event were not the standard gray aliens or other such common alien archetypes. Immediately after the incident, Hickson and Parker sought help from local authorities. They first contacted Keesler Air Force Base and were redirected to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. The sheriff, suspecting a hoax, secretly recorded their conversation, hoping to capture them confessing to a prank. However, the recording only captured their genuine distress and confusion about the event. The case quickly attracted widespread media attention and became a significant subject within UFO research circles. The Pascagoula incident is particularly notable because of the detailed physical descriptions of the abductors. Over the years, this incident has been subject to skepticism and numerous investigations. Some believe that this was a legitimate close encounter, citing others seeing strange lights in the area as proof of this. Some researchers suggest that the abduction experience could have been a case of hypnagogia, a psychological phenomenon involving hallucinations between wakefulness and sleep. Others, however, consider the emotional distress and consistency in Hickson and Parker's accounts as indicative of an actual extraterrestrial encounter. Others have speculated that Parker was suggestible and just went along with what Hickson experienced, suggesting a folie à deux. Both men maintained their stories until their respective passings, with Parker appearing to be particularly distraught when describing the encounter in interviews. Further, Parker suffered mental health problems throughout his life, which he attributed to the uncanny nature of the experience. Whatever your view on UFOs and aliens, it's hard to conclude that these two didn't at least subjectively believe in their experience. Hey, it's your boy Jimmy here. Hope you've enjoyed part 1 of what I hope to be an expansive alien iceberg series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This really helps my channel grow and allows me to dedicate substantial time and effort to producing content. Also, don't forget to hit the share button if you know someone who might appreciate it. Make sure to check out the YouTube membership and Patreon. You can support my channel for as little as 99 cents a month. Shout out to my patrons Noah Schubert, Iced Mocha, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, Jeffer Metcalf, Z-Volts, Director Delta, Unknown Delusions, Faye, Jack Russell, Boomslang, Spookiest Becky, Vespertine, Metanova, Will Roan, and Blasphemous. Big shout out to YouTube member Jordan All. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Peace out, everyone.